Bozo's Circus is on the air. With Bozo, the world's greatest clown. Oliver, oh Oliver. Sandy the Tramp. Bob Smith. Bob Wendler and his big top band. Master Nat, that's me, and a cast of thousands.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Van Chicagoland Stories, the podcast. I'm your host, Pete Costanas. This is episode 58, season 3, and we have an interesting show coming up. Today's date is September 11th, 2021. We're going to talk about three things today. First up, I'm concluding the 60th anniversary of Bozo Circus that aired on WGN TV Channel 9. I'll talk a little bit about that. I covered most of it on my previous podcast episodes. There were about three. This is the fourth part, so it's in three parts. Also, I'll talk about another anniversary. Well, actually, two. I'm sorry. Another 60th anniversary will be the premiere of the Dick Tracy show that hosted by Ray Rayner, and that aired in 1961. I'll talk a little history of that. And last, we will talk about the 20th anniversary of 9/11. So I'll tell you about my experience, where I was when it happened 20 years ago. And it should be an interesting show. Okay. First off, we're going to talk about Bozo Circus. As you well know, I've been posting photos and doing my podcast about this wonderful show we have watched throughout the years. And the other day, I posted a photo on my Facebook page, Van Chicagoland, and it was a toy, and it was called Moonwagon. And what's particular about this toy was it was shipped to the WGN TV studios on the Northwest Side, and that was for the grand prize game. So it was one of the prizes for a boy or girl if they put the ball in the Bozo buckets, and they would win that. So I found that photo and I posted it. So that's an interesting item, And there were other prizes they had. Of course, if you hit bucket number 6, you would win a Schwinn bike. That was always famous for that. And so that was interesting. And I will post photos throughout the month, maybe once a week, to celebrate Bozo Circus Month for September. Okay, and then this weekend I will do a video. I will create a video, of pictures with music celebrating the 60th anniversary, and it'll take a lot of work. Probably be uploaded maybe Monday or Tuesday, depending how busy I am, because I have other things to do. But we'll see. But it's fun to do, but it's very time consuming. But I enjoy it. Also coming up, I will write a story on my blog, on Van Chicagoland blog, about my memories of Bozo Circus. So that would come later on, probably in another week, maybe the end of the week. We'll see if I have time. I will write a story. It'll be very interesting with all the memories that about the show. Little stuff like that. It should be fun. Okay, right now we're going to talk about the Dick Tracy show. Now, the Dick Tracy show was an animated television series, and it was produced for 1 year, and it had 130 episodes, and they were about 5 minutes long. And they featured Dick Tracy and his villains. They were the famous villains that you found in the comic strips. There was a TV show. They did a TV show. It was like in 1950, and that ran about a year. I've seen clips of it. It was pretty good, but there were a few movies that made. I think in the 40s, 30s or 40s. I'm trying to remember. They showed that on TCM sometimes. And the usual villains they had was Flat Top, Pruneface, Itchy, Mumbles, the Brow, the Mole, and Stoogeviller, and Oodles, and then BBIs and Sketch Paris, and they were that's the only villains I remember, but there were other ones, and they had one villain that was just for the cartoon. It was Chester Gould, the creator of Dick Tracy, did not create this character. His name was Cheater Gunsmoke, and he appeared in two villains. And so it was an interesting show. I remember I never seen it on TV, maybe clips when I was growing up. And let's see, so Dick Tracy was only featured in the beginning and at the end, very briefly. So most of it was just the villains, and he had sidekicks. And the sidekicks were Joe Jitsu. He was like a parody of Charlie Chan and Mr. Moto. I remember the movies that Channel 9 used to show all the time, and they were fun to watch. There was Hemlock Holmes, Hippocalori, and Manuel Tijuana, Guadalajara, Tampico, Go Go Gomez Jr. So they were not in the comic strips; they were created for the cartoon series. Okay, and the the cartoon when you watch it, it was very popular. It aired on WGN Channel 9 at 6:30. Very unusual time slot, for a while. Then it moved to 4:30. Okay, and let's see. Oh, and then the host was Ray Rayner, famous TV personality in Chicago, and he hosted the show, and he was Sergeant Henry Pettibone, who was in his Crime Stopper cruiser vehicle, and he's the one that introduced the cartoons and handled radio communications from various sectors of law enforcement. And that's from according to the book. I don't have the book right now. It was the children's television book. I mentioned that in the previous podcast. It featured two Dick Tracy cartoons, and it had one cartoon called QT Hush, and he was like a Sherlock Holmes type. I remember watching that on TV. Anyway, so the voice of Dick Tracy was a character actor named Everett Sloan. I remember him from the famous Twilight Zone episode where it was the gam when he it was called the Fever, and he won a free trip. Him and his wife won a free trip to Las Vegas, and he started playing the slot machine, and he got hooked. And I don't. And then I remember one scene where he was in his hotel room. He wanted to go to the casino, and then the slot machine was there. He knocked at the door in his hotel room, and he was standing there. But maybe it was just like a delusion, a hallucination. But I won't give any spoiler away. You have to watch the show. And yeah, he did the show, and he did the voice of the show, and then let's see. This is very scary. And then in the beginning of the cartoon, you see a speeding squad car, and you hear the announcer go, "The Dick Tracy Show," and then they showed the title, and Dick Tracy would talk into his two-way wrist radio, and he says, "I'll get her on it right away." He was never involved the assignments. He always dumped it on his assistants. That's how it was. That's how the show was. And then, let's see. When the 1990 movie came out starring Warren Beatty, the Dick Tracy movie, which is a wonderful movie. I love that. It's so colorful and a lot of characters and a lot of from villains and a lot of wonderful actors portraying them. I love that movie. And they tried to release it on video, but there was a lot of people complained because it was stereotypical with Joe Jitsu and Gogo Gomez. So they released it, but it was edited. But that's not good. That won't work. So they released on DVD about 10 years later. I bought the DVD. I like the cartoon, but I look at it in a historical perspective. I just watch it to entertain. I understand that it's racist and it's unacceptable today, but it's the same thing with Charlie Chan. So they don't show Charlie Chan movies on television or in the movies. I haven't seen it, but the movies are on DVD. So if you want to buy them, you can watch them on your comfort of your home. I don't think anyone will complain about that. They're not going to protest in front of your house. It's kind of silly. And let's see. And also, Sergeant Pettibone, portrayed by Ray Rayner, he had an assistant. And it was a dog puppet. His name was Tracer, and it was designed and built by Roy Brown, who played Cookie the Cook on Bozo Circus. And he's always seen in a basket on Pettibone's desk, and he was talking to him. First, he was nameless. He didn't have a name. So they had a contest. WGN ran a Name the Dog contest, and it resulted in 30,000 entries. And the judges decide on Tracer as the winning name. And the prize was a real puppy. And it was awarded, to a young man who sent in the first letter that suggested Tracer, and he appeared on the show and he accepted the prize. So that's nice. Okay, and the voice of Tracer was a man named Ron McAdam, and he did the voice of Tracer, and he worked with the puppet, and he was a very talented man, very talented, and he did the off-camera voices, and he appeared on camera, on the show. For example, there were two characters. There was one named Scoop Wilson. No, actually, one was Scoop Wilson, and he was reporter for the Exaggerated Press. And the show, and he did about over 50 characters. He was a very talented man. And then let's see what else. Oh, let's see what else here. And then they had toys marketed for this show, and for example, they had records, hand puppets. They had the two-way wrist radios they could buy. I remember they had a rifle. Mattel marketed those toys. It's kind of strange. And then there was one called the Dick Tracy Crime Stoppers Club Kit, and that consisted of, let's see, there was a picture of Dick Tracy in jiu-jitsu, two Dick Tracy Crime Stoppers textbook, a summons book, a secret code maker with a wood slide with instructions. There was a Crime Stopper Club fingerprint identification pad, and a Crime Stoppers red plastic ID holder, a red fingerprint ink pad, and a keychain flashlight, and a toy plastic magnifying glass. And I posted that about years ago on that, and they do sell them on eBay. You can find them. Some are intact. Some pieces are missing, but you can find them. And if you're very nostalgic and a big fan of the show, go for it. Buy it. I would do that, but if I had the money. Okay, I will play the intro to the Dick Tracy Show cartoon series. And then when we come back, I will talk about 9/11 memories. So here you go.
The Dick Tracy Show.
Okay, I am back. I hope you enjoyed the introduction of the Dick Tracy Show. Excuse me. And so that was a fun show to watch. I have it on DVD, and I've seen all the episodes, so I've seen it twice all the way. it got a little repetitive of that. And then one note about this show is they did a crossover episode with Mr. Magoo because they were the cartoons were created by the same company, animation company, that is from UPA, and it was on the episode of the famous Adventures of Mr. Magoo. It was in 1965, and the episode was titled "Dick Tracy and the Mob," and they had all the villains. They had Pruneface. He was the leader. Itchy, Flat Top, Mumbles, the Mole, the Browl, and Oodles. And this was a longer episode, and Dick Tracy got more screen time. Excuse me, more screen time, and so did Chief Patton. And his none of his assistants were on that episode. Like for example, Hemlock Holmes, Joe Jitsu. They were not, they were not featured. So I would love to see that one. I've never seen it. Okay. Right now, I'm going to talk about another anniversary. It's a very sad one because the anniversary of Bozo's Circus and the Tracy Show. It's also the 20th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks. And someone when I posted something about the 60th anniversary of Bozo Circus, there was a young man. He commented and says, "Why are you doing this? Why are you celebrating, this anniversary of a TV show in Chicago?" And I asked him, "How old are you?" And he says, "I'm 15." Well, he was young. He didn't understand, but I do. We have to. It was the Bozo Circus did a debut on that date, but it was not just that. 9/11 was not the only anniversary on September 11th. There were other shows, and hopefully there wasn't under tragic events. So I explained to him, and I was going to suggest that, why don't you ask your parents? They can explain to you because when 9/11 happened, he wasn't born yet. So he didn't understand. It's hard to explain. But but after I explained what I was doing, then he commented again and said he apologized. That was very nice of him because others would just not say anything or just be nasty towards me. Well, that's fine with that. Anyway, I will discuss where I was on that terrible day. I was on my way to work. I worked for America's Best Travel. It was a corporate travel agency. We booked flights for business travelers. It was located in Rolling Meadows, Illinois. When I woke up in the morning, I turned on the news and I was getting dressed and I was on my way. And then all of a sudden, I heard the first tower was hit uh, around 8:45, Chicago time. And I was talking to my mom, and I was on my way. And I told mom, I told my mother, please watch the news. And she did. When I got home later that day, she did, and she watched the entire thing happening all day long. She neglected her housework, most of it, but she did, back and forth. And so I was in the car radio. I'm listening to the news. Then later on, the second tower hit. The first tower was hit by American Airlines. Uh, it was American Airlines flight, and then there was a United flight, and then after that, it was the Pentagon. And but that happened when I arrived at the office, and then there was a crash in Pennsylvania. So as soon as I walked into the office, it was like the atmosphere was tense and scary, and everyone was so quiet. It's like you entered a library or funeral, because my coworkers were travel counselors. They were agents, and they took reservations. They rebooked everything. All the planes were diverted or canceled. Some were diverted to Canada, and like I remember seeing a map on television where all the flights were uh, gone. There was none like that, and I didn't do much work because I was a Yeah, I was a ticketer. I issued tickets, hotel reservations, car reservations. I did other duties or FedEx airline tickets. I don't think e-tickets were then, electronic tickets. I think they were. I don't remember exactly. It's been a long time. And I didn't do much work because there was nothing to be issued, because everything was canceled. And that day was rough. It was so rough. And I found out there was a rep from Qantas Airlines. She used to visit us, and she was a very young lady, very nice, from Boston. And she was the last passenger boarded on American Airlines Flight 11 that hit the first tower. And later on, we found out that the international team heard about she was when they released the names, she was on board. Oh, that was devastating because we knew who she was, and I heard from other accounts from my office, and we had the Sears account. I think there were two clients that were boarded on the plane. They got killed, and I don't know who else exactly. And also, American Express had an office in the Twin Towers, and there were 11 employees. And when the towers collapsed, they were in there. They didn't escape, and they perished. It was horrible, horrible because we lost 11 employees. Kind of coincidental that happened on September 11th. And every year we honored them. I post a photo of the. It's like a memorial they built, honoring the 11 employees that died in the 9/11 attacks. And then, so it was a sad day, and everyone remembers where they were. And that week, it was on Tuesday, September 11th. The rest of the week it felt long, very long and tiresome. Oh, it was awful. It just dragged. And then everything shut down. Businesses, everything. We were mourning the country. And then probably the following week, everything started going back to normal. Business as usual. The president at the time, George W. Bush, said, "Please go on with your lives, but still don't forget these people that perish, and 9/11 attacks, and it was devastating like that. Because and then the following week we got almost trying to get everything in order. I don't remember the flights resuming. Probably maybe a couple weeks later, but it took a long time just to get everything back on track and like that. And the TV coverage was nonstop. I remember it was practically every day, 24 hours a day for at least at the end of September. And so today is the 20th anniversary of that, and every year they have memorials. They have TV specials, and presidents visiting um, those memorials. They have one in Shanksville, Pennsylvania, like that. And then they rebuilt the Twin Towers in New York. I heard they're not finished yet. And there's also the St. Nicholas Greek Orthodox Church, and that was destroyed. They tried to rebuild it, but there's a shrine so right now. So hopefully it'll be rebuilt and become a beautiful church. I visited the Twin Towers in a few years prior. I went to New York on a trip, and I was there, but I didn't visit the church. I regretted that. I don't know why. I forgot all about it. I wanted to go see it. It was eerie because I was there on the few years prior. So that was awful. So my prayers to the family of the victims. You know, we just hang on, and we will never forget you. Okay, that'll be all for today. That concludes episode 58, season 3, for Vanished Congoland Stories, the podcast. I will do another podcast, I don't think tomorrow, because I'll be working on my new video for the 16th anniversary of Bozo Circus, probably Tuesday. So we'll see about that. And one final note, I found out yesterday that WGN TV news anchor woman, Allison Payne, has passed away. She died on September 1st. So I will talk about her on my next episode, about my memories watching her, because she was a lovely lady, and such a shame. Okay, that'll be all for today. I leave you off with the last mention of Bozo Circus. It is the Grand March led by Bozo the Clown. Take care, everybody, and so take it away, Ringmaster Ned, to announce the Grand March at Bozo Circus. Bye bye, everybody.
And of course, we thank you very much for letting us be with you. We hope that it was an enjoyable hour for you. It was for us, it always is. And now, if you will, stand up, please, and join us in our Grand March.